Hey guys, it's me, Casey, and we have Brianna here with us. And today, like I stated last week, we are going to be discussing Black History Month. A lot of people have concerns about it being the shortest month. A lot of people are identifying a lot of Black history, and the question at hand is, are we doing enough? So as we are going to speak on a lot of topics, a lot of things, we're going to show you one little video that was brought to my attention that I think would make a big, a big, gives us an explanation somewhat of why Black History Month was chosen to be in February. Okay, spare with me, guys, because like I said before, I'm new with this technology, so give me one quick. Here we go.
So why isn't there a White History Month? A question I thought we'd move past, but I'm still getting asked. So here we are. The short answer: every month is White History Month. But allow me to lend a further explanation. In 1915, a black scholar, Dr. Carter Woodson, he founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History in order to promote black achievements and black awareness. Later on, he and his colleagues, they created Negro Achievement Week. Now, this was 1 week marked in February because that was a birth month of black scholar Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, two pivotal figures in black history. Now, I personally don't love the term Black History Month because black history is truly just our history. However, for so long in this country, we have neglected the achievements of black individuals, and as a result, Black History Month must exist. Think about it. You can remember the first Harvard graduate that was black, or the first black vice president, but we rarely ever talk about the first white person to ever do something because that's called the news. And for so long, we've always esteemed white accomplishments. In a few weeks, we'll be celebrating Valentine's Day. But if you only ever celebrated your significant other on that day, it would actually undermine the relationship that you all have. In the same manner, don't just celebrate Black history on Black History Month, but educate yourselves and celebrate Black history because it is our history all year long. So,
So, guys, that was what I was brought to my attention, and I thought that was a very, very deep explanation of what Black History Month consists of. Brianna, what did you think about that video?
I think he was on point about exactly how I feel regarding Black history. A lot of people want to question either why even have the existence of Black History Month, but I feel as though it is needed. And if we want to continue people to understanding the history of Black people or the legacy, or even involving Black history into American history, which it is, then we need to just push forward in celebrating it every month, not just on Black History Month. Um,
Right.
with that being said, I completely agree. White History Month is every other month of the year, and I think for us to move forward, people need to stop questioning why the existence of Black History Month, but continue to celebrate Black History Month every month of the year, like they do White History.
I definitely agree with that. One thing that I always try to help with, and everybody who's following the page know that we do an unpopular Black History fact, because to me, I know we every Black History Month, even when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, we were taught about Martin Luther King. We was taught about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. We was taught about Harriet Tubman. And so we're familiar with those, but there are so many more. Not that they are not a part of Black history, because they definitely paved the way. But we have so much history in almost everything that is affiliated with the United States and affiliated with everything that we all do, that a lot of people are unaware of those Black history facts. So if we look back at all the Black history that we do have, it's so much. And I do think that we should interact Black history in with American history, so that way we can have the Black History Month can be celebrated from one point to another point, because at that point, Black History Month is actually put in, the history books. What do you think about that?
Well, as he stated, Carter Woodson was Dr. Carter Woodson. Let me pay my respects. Created Black History, or he's the father of Black History Month, and I put quotations around that because it's all started out with a week of celebrating Black awareness or Black history, and that week formulated to a month. I think the whole purpose of it was to bring forth an attention to it for us to continue to spread it. So it's not supposed to be just a month, because just how it started, just a week and expanded to a month. We're supposed to continue the expansion into the rightful place, which is in public schools or even any type of other educational system in America, where it's just American history, not just necessarily Black history. And I think that's why the whole questioning of why is it the shortest month of the year, when it was just to pay homage to Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, when you're supposed, if you felt that way, felt that it was an issue, celebrate it the month after February, celebrate it all year round, and bring that. Like, why wait? Or why are you waiting for someone else to say, you're right, it shouldn't just be February, it should be every other month, when you could be the person to implicate that, or to celebrate your culture and heritage every other month of the year. So the whole questioning of why is it the shortest month of the year is nonsense. Continue celebrating, continue bringing awareness, continue talking about, continue that conversation, instead of every February talking about why we get the shortest month of the year. Because obviously you're not celebrating it in March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, you're not doing that. But you want to complain. So
right. No, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't think that is a valid argument, due to the fact that at least it's being celebrated. Like you stated, it did start off with 1 week, in which now has extended to a month. But in that month's time, a lot of people, probably say, oh, there's so much Black history, we can't put it into a month. It's only recognized as a month, but it doesn't mean that we don't learn our history throughout the year. I have another video that I kind of want to share, because that one definitely gave us a reason why, Black history is separated from previous history, or our history itself, I should say. But there was a video that was going out for a long time ago with Morgan Freeman, and this is what this video says, and we can discuss this after I play it. So again, bear with me, because again, technology is not my best quality. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. And we do
Black History Month you find ridiculous. What? You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on. Tell me. Well, I'm Jewish. Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month? There isn't one. Oh. Why not? Do you want one? No. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history. How are we going to get rid of racism and stop talking about it? I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a Black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You know, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh.
Now that was very, very powerful. So,
do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't?
What do you think about that video?
In some instances, I do agree with Morgan Freeman. It should not be just shrunk into a month, but the whole point of it was that Black people have been undermined, unrecognized for so long in the history of America. The purpose of the month it started out as a week. The purpose was not supposed to just gate all Black history inside a month and then going back to teaching the children of the schools and people who are unaware, who are not Black or non-people of color, to continue to like mess with the information that they are receiving. The whole purpose was to bring awareness, and that awareness was supposed to spread and to longer than a month, which is my complete belief of the whole Black History Month.
Right.
Getting rid of it is basically kind of hiding it. And just how he said not to bring it up, that's not going to work, because that's kind of like being colorblind. I don't want you to not see me as a Black woman. I want you to not treat me differently because I am a Black woman. And that's my perspective. I want you to see that even though I am a different color, different race, different age, different gender, whatever the case may be, that I have, like, everybody has value, no matter who you are, what you are, or what you do. So with that being said, to be completely colorblind is not how you prevent racism, because to be colorblind is to not see the difference of the individual, but we are all different. I think recognizing our differences and accepting it is how you defeat racism, not just being colorblind and be like, okay, well, you're a person, you're a human being. I mean, that's nice, but it's not going to end the unfair treatment of people of color.
Right. Now, I agree. When I first saw the video, I kind of was a little bit like thrown off, because Black history is Black history and it's a part of American history. I do agree with that. But when he asked about racism, I was thinking, like, why would Black history be a part of the racism conversation? Black history is the history of greatness, of what we've done, people of color have done in history, of paving a way for others. So when you bring in racism, you speak on just one certain topic, which I think a lot of people get misconstrued with what Black history consists of, because when he says that, it makes me quickly think, oh, they're speaking of the Martins, the Malcolms, the Harriet Tubman, which is affiliated with racism, but Black history itself is definitely way more than just racism. Yes, the hard part of a lot of those paving the way had to deal with the racism. They did, but they was able to get past that and become much more, and break those walls down for everyone who's participating in those fields to actually be a part. Such, we post the unpopular Black history fact every day, and we're doing that every day of the month, but it's not just for the month. It's basically to help us know of more. And every last one of those unpopular Black history facts, we're not identifying the racism, we're identifying the greatness. People of color invented, basically we invented the laser eye, we invented the security system, open heart surgery. There is so much more that we have done outside of racism, and I think the problem is that we affiliate everything to having to fight for our rights. And I'm not negating that at any point at all. It's just a simple fact that I feel like when he said that, that's what he was speaking of. He was speaking of how we know that they fought. We shouldn't have to identify that we fought, because that fight should be, the result of the fight should be us being inclusive in some way. I mean, you kind of understand what I'm saying with that one?
I completely understand where you're coming from. I interpreted his words in a different way. When he was bringing up racism, it's like, oh, how will we stop racism? I don't think he was speaking it as in regarding to, well, we have to know what our ancestors fought for so we can continue to, like, no. I think I interpreted it as he was discussing the simple fact that a lot of people across America in the education system, especially young people who are non-people of color, they don't know that Black people or people of color have influenced the foundation of this country in so many more aspects than just us fighting for our rights. So when he was talking about, well, how are we going to end racism, I was interpreting it as he was talking about the children or the people who are in the, like, different parts of America who, like, did not understand that so many people have, besides those of the white nationality or ethnicity, were involved in the creation of this country and how great it can be, and talking about inclusivity. So it wasn't, I think he was more so recognizing the hard work that we've already done and bringing it forth to where, well, racism is because we superior white supremacy. So he was like, how do you beat white supremacy if we didn't educate people on the greatness of Black folks? Is how I interpret it. I'm sorry. That was like, it was a long-winded answer, but come back to that short statement of white supremacy being defeated by showing how great basically every other person or person of color is, rather than just focusing on the white great people, whatever, of American history.
And I get that, I understand that, but when it comes down to basically just doing Black History Month, that's why I said, it sounded like he's affiliating Black History Month only with the racism portion, in which we are much greater than that. Now, here's my question: what about when we want to be inclusive with history? And I know it's a lot. So if we was to take the history that we know of people of color and include it in the history that is being taught in school, do you think that that would help expand the knowledge of Black history? Or do you think that America's just not ready for the truth being told as far as how people was treated and how somewhat we came to how we are today? Because racism still existed worse then than it is now.
First off, we're not waiting for anything. Waiting for something for it to become better is like waiting for our oppressor to be like, I think you guys are oppressed. Let me set you free. That's not going to happen. So with that being said, we can't wait for when people are ready for the truth. We have to give them the truth, point blank value. And I honestly, there was an act that was introduced back in 2020, I believe in May, where they was trying to say Black history is American history. And I think to enforce that act, we need to try to contact our senators. Everything that we was doing that was making such an uproar in the past few months, that was actually seeing progressive moves being done in Congress, needs to go ahead and push that forward. It was introduced. It has not been canceled or anything like that yet. So we can continue contacting our senators and stuff like that for the Black History is American History Act. That I wish I had the little code detail thing so I can just try to get everybody. But if you go ahead and influence your senator or mail your senator, email them, I don't know, harass the heck out of them so that we can actually get this act passed, because Black history is American history. And I don't think we should have to wait for people to teach this in the public schools.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't think that it should. I mean, I think it should be taught in public schools. I think it should be acknowledged, because a lot of the unpopular Black history that is being posted, a lot of people are responding that they didn't even know these things. And I feel like if you go into school for, let's say you go into college for to become an eye doctor, when they're teaching you the concept of what that particular study is, I believe that they should teach you the history of it. You always learn about the white history of it, but the Black history should be taught in it as well. So that way it doesn't seem like it's an overload of history being taught in high school and elementary school or any other school. I just think that inclusivity should be a part, because if someone was learning a certain skill and they knew the history of the person prior to them, the history of it, they would honestly probably appreciate it more, because of the steps that someone had to go through just to pave a way for them to even go to school for it. That's the knowledge that I'm speaking of. There's so much, there's always going to be a first. Today, Black history, the first Black man in the NFL. He broke a lot of boundaries just so he can be a part of the NFL. And I didn't even know that. I'm not a football, I'm not a sports person, but to learn that Kenny Williams paved the way for all of our Black athletes that's playing football today, it should be known. It should be taught. It should be learned, because there are people following behind, and it's not just because there's football. It's because there's a history behind it. And some people want to follow those paths of history and make a better way. There's always going to be a better way. He could be the first black coach, first black team owner, whatever it is, but there's always a starting point, is what I'm saying, as far as when it comes to history. And if people don't know their history, then that push to being for greatness is there, but it's not as strong, if you get me. We're going to go ahead and let Emillion Bucks. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey,
Hey,
so
what's going on?
I know we've been having some technical difficulties, and I know that you have been listening in as you was getting yourself together. So give us your input as far as what you feel about Black History Month today.
I think putting it on our oppressor is not a good idea. So, what I've been doing is listening to the conversation, and it's such a topic that people look at it like they just barely scratch the surface of what really it is. You can't really look at if someone like, okay, all right, let me give you an example. I'm gonna put it into like, we from Queens, New York, so we grew up middle class, right? Say you, I use you as an example. Say you, I'm gonna paint a picture, and I don't want to use you for example, but I just use your field. So say your field is psychology, right? And say your field might top out at like, say you peak out at 100, 150 grand a year, right? But you get an offer in Beverly Hills to do psychology in Beverly Hills, right? So now your salary is somewhere like $500,000 to $1 million a year. But depending on if you're working for a private practice or you went into business for yourself, you got an office, right? So now you're making $1 million a year, right? You living in Beverly Hills, right? And you living, and then you do psychology. So you get paid pretty good, but it takes a lot of hours. So you do 14 hours of work a day, and then you gotta, whatever you sleep, whatever you eat in your personal time. So you don't have time to clean, right? You don't have time to clean. So what you do is, I'm not gonna say you hire a slave, but you hire a servant, somebody to do your work for you. And now I'm gonna go ahead and use Beverly Hills as a perfect example, and I'm gonna remove black people from the slavery because in Beverly Hills, maybe black people aren't the slaves, right? So I'm gonna say you in Beverly Hills, you're a black woman, you hire a Mexican woman, you hire I'm not even gonna say any Hispanic woman, I'm not gonna say Puerto Rican or Cuban or Dominican, I'm gonna say you hire a Mexican woman that knows 30% English, and you pay her. You get her hooked up. You get her services. You get her services from one of your clients. One of your clients. Say I know this lady. She's gonna clean your house for $8 an hour. Okay, so she's cleaning your house for $8 an hour, 40 a week. It's $320 a week. However, you being from New York, you know $8 an hour is not enough to clean your house, so we know off the rip this lady is an uneducated lady. Do you take the responsibility of being a good person and say, you know what, let me educate this Mexican lady about her history with America and why she's getting paid $8 an hour, and let me help her make $20 hours. I'm gonna pay her $20 an hour, and I'm gonna help her start a cleaning company where she can make her rightful pay. Do you do that?
Well,
do any of us do that?
So okay. So basically, what I'm hearing is that you're asking, as the oppressor, do you teach
Right.
someone how to?
That's what I'm saying. That's it. You got my question.
So,
and I just bring it into modern terms. Yes, that's it.
but
You can never expect that.
I get that. Here's what I would think. I would say, okay, when it comes down to Black people, we're not seeking acknowledgement or knowledge from our oppressors. We are learning this on our own, so we don't need the oppressor to teach us. What we need to learn is our history so we can strive to be better. We need to learn it, and we're putting it out there for others to learn. It's pretty much not And I get what you're saying. No, we don't. We can teach, but we're not seeking for the oppressors to teach us. We're seeking out the knowledge ourselves. And a lot of people are complaining about it being in the shortest month, but as we spoke on earlier, it's not the shortest month. It wasn't chosen
Right.
by that. It was chosen for other reasons, in which today we could say happy birthday to oh my gosh, Frederick Douglass. Yes, I just got that quickly. So that's one of the reasons why we celebrate in the month of February. But our
Right.
seeking of knowledge is not from the oppressors. What I'm saying is, now that we are aware and knowledgeable of our history, it should be shared, because the reason why a lot of people, and I believe this is a this is my opinion, but I do believe that a lot of people who are not black feel like they are superior, because they feel like everything that they learned is all about white people creating all of the things that are surrounding us. So when I say included, they get to see that this was not all created by white people. They were black people who created things. So therefore, that they can, the things that when they say go back to Africa, those little remarks like that. Well, if we was to go back and take everything that we created, what will you have left?
Nah, I'm with you 100%. What the confusion is with me. Of course, I'm for Black History Month, but my confusion is why fight? And that's the thing. Like that's my thing. Like why are we fighting for something that's our responsibility? Like if you can like me, I'm gonna get one thing straight. I'm not even with the black agenda. I don't even consider myself black. I consider myself African. You see where I'm coming from? And I'm from fucking Queens. I was actually born in the Bronx, and my family's from Cuba. Why I consider myself African, and why a whole bunch of my friends consider themselves black, I can't even answer that. When we talking about the discussion we having is so deep. It gets way it's like we so scratching the surface of it, because you can't force the oppressor to teach you in his school. Like I don't know if you remember, I have sent you something before. Like a lot of people don't even know. Like in the South, most of the curriculum in schools is written from the daughters and actual kin of the people from the Confederate War. Their actual daughters, nieces, granddaughters, and they have that political power. And some of that stuff is still taught to this day. So like, what would be the big deal about it? Forcing it here, they still teaching. They're not even going to teach the shit. Like you, and then to get into it, you can see here, you can say this, that, and other, but after all that, you got to bring religion into play. You have to bring religion into play. And once you bring religion into play, people don't care about education. They care about Jesus and things like that first. You're gonna be a grandma, a great every black man I know cannot speak freely how they want of religion and education in front of their mom or in front of their grandparents. And that's because most of us are no longer in that same system of belief that our parents are. But in front of them, we cannot express that. So that's a whole other thing. Like we talking about Black History Month, when I don't even know what percentage of blacks are still Christians for whatever reason you can give to them, explain to them, break it down to them.
But
Okay, sorry, let me speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to address a few things that I heard from you that you said. So you said you consider yourself African, correct?
Correct.
I wanted to I had this discussion with my friends a couple of weeks ago, where we was discussing the difference between Black Americans and African Americans. And the reason why some identify as a Black American, like I identify myself as a Black American, not African American, because not all Black people are from Africa. And I say that because Black people are from everywhere. And the reason why I identify as a Black American is because I don't necessarily know my lineage of which part of Africa, if I'm from there, where I am, originally or my. So that's why I identify as a Black American. Another thing that
That's
I heard you
exactly.
say was people in the South teaching the wrong history. And yes, that is correct. Some people, or I don't want to say no states, Alabama, are basically saying that they are opting out of teaching African American history in schools, which is why I was pushing for a federal mandate, because if we make it a criteria in those public schools, they have to teach it. The reason why I say we should, I'm not saying that we should be forcing our oppressor to teach us our history. No, I'm saying that because originally Dr. Carter Woodson, he's the one that created the program and basically created the curriculum, which they taught in those schools for those to learn which Black figures would be taught during this month. This time in the week. They created the criteria or the curriculum, and I think we should get back into doing that and creating the curriculum of what is taught in our schools, which we have the power to do, not only on a federal level but on a local level, which is why people of color should attend PCA meetings.
Realize, see, now you're talking, but now you're making sense.
I'm sorry?
What I'm saying is now you're making sense, but when you put it on the federal level, it's a waste of time, because the federal level can mandate something, but at the end of the day, it's up to the municipality to enforce it. The federal level passes it to the state passes it to the city, and the city goes to the county and municipality. So if you don't have at the end of the day, the federal level mandates it, right? And then it goes to a fucking community district board number 37, right? And that superintendent, what do you do if the superintendent's a part of the KKK? Or you don't really give a fuck about that. He's fucking 75 years old, like Donald Trump. He doesn't have to enforce it to the principal. It goes from the superintendent to the principal, from the principals to the teachers. It's too much. It's up to us. I'm in agreement with you saying, but for me, I'm gonna be real with you. You know where it starts for me? Honestly, it starts for me. It starts with the women. That's what I've been advocating for a long time. It doesn't start in school. It starts with the mothers, because that's your first form of education that you get. You get from your mom. You learn to speak from her. And the problem is, a lot of our women are ignorant to these facts. They don't even know themselves, so they're not instilling that in their children. The fathers is definitely missing. It's up to the women.
I can see what you're saying, but I think we're getting off track. I completely agree. Everything starts from the home. However, a lot of people, as you may have said, may be ignorant and they don't know where to start for the information. Don't know what to trust, what resources to trust. And that's why we have certain things implemented, or those who are, I guess, specialists who knows this knowledge, that they push it forward through and have a complete sorry, I got a little distracted by the question, but a complete basically that curriculum that I was talking about, for which they can pull resources that are reliable to teach in the home. That's why Black people, we need more Black authors, we need more Black teachers, we need more Black this and this and that, because people at home sometimes don't know. And I also wanted to address one more thing that you said in your earlier statement, which was regarding the whole what was it? Goodness gracious, it's not coming to me. I'm on the tip of my tongue, but I'll come back to it. Thank you.
But I get the understanding of being taught in the home. The thing is that if it wasn't originally taught in the home from generations before, how are you to know? We have, in this generation now, we have everything at the tip of our fingertips, you know, with our phones, computers, and everything of that nature. So for the to be shared, we have to honestly put it out there to be known. There's so many people who are unaware of the things that are considered Black history. You know, Black history goes way beyond, you know, Malcolm and Martin. It goes in the 1700s. It could go beyond that if we look further into it. It's just the simple fact of bringing it to the table. And the reason why I think it should be in schools is because if you don't look for it, you'll never find it. So if you presented it the same way that we're presented with the history that they're teaching us in school now. If we're presented it can capture somebody's attention and say, you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that this Black person did this or this Black person did that. I like doing stuff like that, so I'm going to follow suit and be a scientist like this Black guy or like this Black woman. So therefore, it helps It helped guide the minds of
What
those
you,
who are unaware.
Casey, what you saying, I agree with 100%. But my thing is, I like to be effective in everything I do. Like, so, like, if I'm gonna say something, I got to think about like, I'll give you an example. Like, I don't want to use me as an example. I'll just use, okay, what you're saying is an example. You're saying, okay, you put it out there like that, right? So to put the information out there like that, the most of the people that's going to care to put the information out like that, they're going to have to be black teachers. They're not going to be white teachers, right? Okay, that's just to say, what percentage of white teachers are going to really give a fuck to push this information? So now that I say how do you be effective, to be effective, you got to think about it on a number scale. You got to think about it out of 100% of teachers in America, how many teachers are black? Right? So I'm just going to go out and on a limb. I'm going to go out on a crazy limb and say 15% of the whole Board of Education is black. Right? Now, if I go out on a limb and I say 15%, of those 15%, you know how many of those people are going to be in fucking New York City and in Washington, D.C., and like Chicago and like certain areas of major cities? So that when you get to the real numbers, it is so low that there's no way those teachers are going to be effective. There's no way.
Can I
It's like,
just
no
say
way.
this?
Which
I'm
is
gonna
why
say
I was saying a solution to that issue, particularly, is if we had our own site or anything that was on the internet that is a reliable resource built from our own people, so that way we can draw information from that we know is factual. Just how they have a history.com or whatever that they have for their government sites or something that states facts, we need something similar like that for people of color.
like a Black History channel.
And then when they do to push, what they do to push their agendas and the things that they want to educate us with, they push it on us through entertainment, whether it's through sports, whether it's through commercials, whether it's through TV, whether it's through movies, whether it's through music. That's how they educate people. That's how you guys all talk about coronavirus and all that shit. If it wasn't on the news, and one person was talking about it and trying to help you, no one would care. So my point is, that's what you have to use to educate the people. You see where I'm coming from? If they use the music the wrong way, then you got to take it out. The thing is, the money talks, and they do it through clothing. It was the same thing I was telling you. If you can take clothing and figure out how to generate some kind of income, like I don't even want to get into it, like I was discussing with you, and make that money. And then you know how I found out a lot. Want to know how I became, how my mind got to where it was. Of course, it was like growing up in New York, but a lot of it was through rap. A lot of it was through KRS-One. The last person that I don't even really listen to like that anymore, that influenced me to open my mind, was Jay-Z. And that's why I say through music. How he did it, he said one line in the song, and I didn't even knew. He said, I arrived on the day Fred Hampton died. I had African American history class in Martin Van Buren. My teacher was Miss Pace. I didn't even know who fucking Fred Hampton was until Jay-Z said that shit. My mom never told me. My dad never told me. My uncle never told me. You see what I'm coming from? When Jay-Z said it, I knew. And you know what I did? I went on fucking Google and I looked it up. And when I found out who he was, I ended up writing a song about him. So my whole point of is like, we got to use the music. If you can find a way to generate 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever it is, and you're not scared to use that money to get an artist and say, you know what, I'm going to give you $50,000 because I believe in your influence to write a song about it. That's the only way to have it, because the entertainment market is so bad.
Okay. I definitely agree with you when it comes down to reaching out. There's different platforms to reach out. Now, not everybody is with the music, so therefore you have the arts of acting, so therefore they reenact what took place, and then you got
right.
That's we have to start somewhere, and
That's what I'm saying.
it has been started. What I'm saying is those reenactment movies and the songs and so forth, yes, they are educating us. But is it enough? Because there's a lot of history that is not being said. As like I said, the unpopular facts that we are speaking on the page on a regular basis, A lot of people didn't even know of those stories. Now, those are new stories that can be reenacted or wrapped upon or anything of that nature. It's all based on what your interests are. Everybody who is interested in something different, there is someone that had paved the way for that interest. And if there was no paved way, then guess what? Guess what? If there's nobody out there under that particular interest, you are the person that opens the doors for other people, because somebody else might come up with the same form of mindset and don't know someone that started it from that point. So that's what Black history consists of. We're opening the doors and letting it be known of those interests of people that Black people did it. We had our first Black judge. We had our first Black lawyer. We had our first Black politician. We had our first Black of almost everything, astronauts. The thing is it's interest based. Interest based. Like you said, Jay-Z brought it to your attention. You stated that it should be brought to our attention by our parents. Our parents wasn't even aware of it unless they lived it. So what we need to do is we need to learn from what was not taught and teach it, because you don't know what your sons might have interest in. That they might be interested in rap, but
That's
they
what
might
I'm
also be
saying. Just us at
in
the
physics.
end of the day,
Huh?
it's on the at the end of the day, I still gotta put it on us because I feel like at the end of the day, I have to put it back to the
You're
family because you answer any question.
you breaking up
Our
really.
parents
You really are. I'm
didn't
so
know
sorry.
because the information
Hmm.
was not available. So that time is past. Your parents don't know. Your
I'm sorry, you're going in and out. I can't understand the word you're saying.
Yeah, he's stuck.
grandparents don't know. Nobody knew. But now the people who know, it's us. Damn.
Yeah, you're going in and out. There you go. You're going in and out. Can't hear you. And he does bring a valid point of how we are to bring the knowledge to everyone. And the starting point is being knowledgeable ourselves. When our kids come to us and have an interest in something, be it, like I said, physics, be it biology, be it science, be it acting, be it anything, that's when we as parents need to do our research and say, you know, who was the first actor? You know, who was the first, Black physicist? You know, who was the first Black biologist? Bring that to their attention so that they can see the journey that it took for them to even think of themselves being in that point. That's basically what our job is now. Our job now is honestly to open those doors that people didn't open up for us. Like I said, Black history, all my years in school, I know about Martin Luther King. I know about Harriet Tubman. I know about Malcolm X. Okay. I didn't even know of Carter Woodson until my daughter brought it to my attention prior to this year's Black history. I might have heard of him, but it wasn't dwelled in my head for me to repeat it to someone else. I think his system went down. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just remembered the last statement that I wanted to address of his was, well, I didn't just remember. I remember like 2 seconds after I muted myself, but we're gonna move past that. It was the fact that he said that you can't have a different opinion of, I guess, your mother or your grandmother or something, or speak that different opinion in front of them. And even though I know that was totally off subject, I just wanted to address my thoughts of it because I said I would. With that statement, I feel as though when it comes to having a different opinion, some households define that as disrespect. And that's something that in the Black community, we could just work on, period, because you can we can agree to disagree. And that's how you have to cultivate those conversations, because not everybody in this lifetime is going to agree with everything that you have to say. Just based on that one comment that he said, I wanted to address it because that is something that we need to get comfortable with, people not agreeing with your viewpoints and clashing and all that other stuff, and how to handle that situation. Because honestly, me and you, Mom, we don't share the similar opinions on certain things, but we can discuss it and we can move forward knowing that our different oppositions, hearing each other out, because of that level of respect that we have for each other. I find it disrespectful to automatically shut me down because I have a different opinion. And I think that's what he was talking about. And I wish he was here to hear me say that, because when he was talking about, that's the older generations. Today in age groups and people my age, I feel as though we have an opinion, we want to express it, and even if it's not necessarily all the way correct or in line with what you agree of, we will be heard.
Right. And I agree with that. I mean, I believe that every generation can learn from each other. You know, I learned from my mom's generation, I learned from my grandmother's generation, and I'm pretty sure that they learned from the generations previously. One thing about that is knowledge can be passed down, and so can trauma. So when people feel like they can't speak to their elderly because of disrespect, or it's disagreeing with them, disagreeing does not mean or is not attached to being loved by someone. In fact, if you disagree and identify what you're disagreeing with, that can be a topic of discussion in which whatever it is, if it is affiliated with Black history, because a lot of times we're living Black history, today. Everything that Black history is not over. As long as we got breath in our bodies, there is new Black history. That's why I stated that, when is a stopping point from us learning of the previous Black history to the point where it's actually going to be inclusive with American history? Because if that's the case, then someone needs to create a Black history book to affiliate with Black history instead of us trying to include it in regular history, because our history is very important as well.
I think with that, I don't want to separate it. Again, we don't want to separate Black history from American history. But I know if you wanted to put it in a book, let's put it in a textbook, because
Right.
Black history alongside of American history is the same thing. They equal one another. And if you want to learn about George Washington, might as well learn about the people who was there with him, or the Black battalion that was right there fighting alongside him for them to win the war. You want to have it at the same level. So like every Black event that happened, or white event, or whatever color event that happened, let's just have it simultaneously next to each other going up forward, because you don't want to mix everything and then be like, oh, well, if that happened, why didn't I learn it when this happened? Why are we confused? Because in today's school, I know that they teach it according to the year. So why would I learn about everything that happened in like the 1600s for the colonization of America, and then next, 4 years later in my senior year or something, I'm learning about Black people was a part of being in that? No, you got to learn it all together, because it is all in one, like one of the comments had said. So
I definitely agree. You know what? And that you made a very good point of learning it in separate time frames, because if you learn it in separate time frames, then Black history is not going to look like it was a part of that. It looks like it all happened at the same time, and that it doesn't have anything to do with the changes that took place according to the way that schools teach history. So when we say inclusive, we're not saying that it's forced upon, because it's not. It's actually what took place. We can't change history. We can only acknowledge that it took place and how it took place. What took place with the history that is being taught is that they took out the Black history part of it. They took out the Black history part and created what they thought was important for people to know. And what they thought that what people should know is why we are the way we are. People feel like they're superior to people of color because they feel like we had nothing to do besides being slaves with this country, not knowing that people of color built the Capitol. People of color built all the monuments in, the Capitol, Washington, D.C. People of color created things that they use every day. The ironing board, the stoplights, there is creation in everything that they utilize. And instead of belittling people of color because of their way of teaching, if they was taught like one of the comments was stated, then they wouldn't suffer affluenza when they feel like they are better than someone else. So I agree that it needs to be inclusive, but I just feel like if we can't get it inclusive, we need to go ahead and put it in a book and put
I
it.
think, see, that's the thing. I don't want to try to make oh, well, if we can't do that, let's compromise and let's put it. No, I want it in the history books because that's where it belongs, because it is history. Let's not try to make side solutions for a problem because it makes them feel comfortable. Oh, you don't want to add it to American history? That's fine. We could just have our own separate book. No, put it in American history because that's where it belongs. That's the place that it goes. And I don't think we should provide that as an answer for our solution, because we do technically have a Black history book when we have African American studies in college. So,
Right.
but instead of separating it, it needs to be where it belongs, which is American history taught in public schools.
Well, what I wasn't saying that. I mean, when I say put it in a book, I mean put it in a book where it can be coincide with each other.
Okay.
Because it's a lot, and then that's why I said there's a point from A to point B. When it's at point C, it should already be inclusive in the books. But if being that let's say we already have books created, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have the history books created. So if we create a book where we coincide with it, when we teaching, we say, okay, this is what happened with George Washington. Now open up this book so you can see what took place, and then they can put it together in history classes. That's what, when I say get another book. But I do feel like there should be a stopping point where Black history is now a part of American history. It was always a part, but I'm saying as far as teaching wise, where it's inclusive. You still don't agree with that?
No, I'm a little confused in your wording. You said there's a stopping point. A stopping point to what?
To where now, let's say to 1980, right? 1980 is when they started putting Black history in the actual history books. However long it takes for them to recreate the history books. When they recreate the history books, because I know in the medical field, there's books that comes out every year. I don't know how the books are created in school-wise, because our books was old as hell, and when I went to school in the 80s. So what I'm saying is that, oh, I muted you just so we could finish because it's loud. But what I was saying is that, with the books, when they recreate the books, then that's when they need to include the history in those books. So when I say a stopping point, it can be in the 1960s, where, if they speak of that in the history books, then when they create a new history book, then the 1960s of Black history should be inclusive there as well. I'm not saying like, a stopping point of Black history, because again, like I stated, Black history, we're living it now, and our children's going to live it, and our grandchildren is going to live it, because there's always going to be something of greatness and Black excellence that is brought to the table for people of color. Oh, okay. I can't.
That is true.
So, hello. Okay, you back.
Yeah, I'm here. I just be standing under the light sometimes listening.
Okay. So basically, that's my opinion as far as when it comes to Black history. But I do feel like it's each and every last one of us who is capable of utilizing a phone, who's capable of utilizing a computer, who's capable of research to pull information of your interest. You don't have to be a scholar of Black history. And although it would be nice for everybody to know of all of Black excellence, you don't have to have the knowledge of everything, but of your interest. Look up that interest of what it is and find the person who paved the way. You might be surprised that you just the one that paved the way. You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, when I did our family thing, our family history tree, what have you, I found Black excellence. I mean, I believe every Black family has Black excellence anyway. But we had a family member of ours whom actually opened up the first nursing home for the elderly slaves that was no longer capable of working. And to this day, they have a community center for her, the Eliza Simmons Bryant Community Center in Ohio. that is a relative of ours. So if I didn't do my Black research, I would have never known that that part of greatness came from our bloodline. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm still just gonna run off the I implore people to do their own research and find the facts. I just think that it's kind of hard sure of which resources to rely on. And that's why I offered the solution of we having a database with all of the Black history that is factual information and is trustful and resourceful. So that way those people can be able to find the information easily, kind of like similar to what Google database is. However, we won't have SEOs or people where they can pay for programs or wording, put certain verbiage in to the algorithm for their things to pop up originally when you can just have all the facts filed away. I'm sorry.
well, because I was looking, because there is one, it's called blackpast.org, in which I go there and that's how I get a lot of the unpopular Black history facts that I've been getting.
Sharing of information, did not know that.
Yeah. And I honestly, if it wasn't for Alicia, I would not have known of that site as well. And I go through it every day. She goes through it on a regular basis as well to locate some information, and in which they got it even in categories of science, the arts, politics. And you can kind of go through those lists and then list the names. And if you tap on the name of those, then it'll bring you what they were the first of. It brings you all the way. It tells you information of Black world history, not only in Black American history, but in Black world history, because we made history worldwide. 1600s, we made history. So with her bringing that knowledge to me, I bring it to the page and I share it, and I have no problem sharing it. And you're right. We do need to make sure that the information that we get is true, fact,
accurate.
yeah.
Yes.
And so when they had that .org on there, it's blackpast.org. I went in and I saw all of the greatness, and then you could Google the name after you look at the name to see if other sites agree with the information on there, and pull up all the information regarding those people who made Black excellence and paved the way. So they do have those sites available.
No, the Scholarly Journal, yes.
Right. It's just not available. So what I will do once we finish today is I will post those links for people to actually go on and see, the Black excellence that we have. So do you have a final word that you want to share with us before we pull out today?
Of course. I like to speak. So again, Black History Month is just to recognize, or the start of recognizing, Black greatness and awareness, and bring awareness to what our contributions to American history were. It is not to just only be celebrated in February, but all year round. And I think we should implore ourselves, or try to, I want to say, challenge ourselves to continue sharing Black information all year round as we make history this year. I also would like to mention that please contact your senators, all that on the federal level, so that way we can get this Black History is American History Act passed, because that is very important. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. Emiliana, you want to go ahead and give some last words on Black history?
I think the idea for the database sounds great. Now that I'm with both things. I'm definitely with implementing things more in the curriculum in school. But I think the database is a good idea because it gives people all over the world the chance to, so if there's a kid and they tell him, listen, you gotta do a book report. Now he got a place to go. He ain't got to worry about a library. They closed my library, it's not open. A database sounds good. It just has to have a good name, something that stands for something. Something respectful that people they know not to step on. You can't step on those words. But that's what I got to say. And don't be afraid to educate your kids. Everybody has a phone, like you said. Everybody has a phone. It starts at home. You can't point the finger at nobody.
Right.
They ain't gonna help you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say You know, Black history is every day. We still living Black history to this day, and it's going to be going on as long as there's breath in anybody's body. I believe that we are a part of history, and we should share the history prior to us. The access is here. I will be posting, and when I post that link, you have access to everything where from arts to science. Everything will be posted on the link. And I do believe that we can do more, and doing more means that, you know, educate yourselves, do your research. Like I said, it don't have to be a scholar in Black history, but if it's something of your interest, look and see who paved that way. And if the way was not paved, then you are the beginning of that path. So you're paving the way for someone else. But always, always, always look in the back to see who paved the way for you, so you can pave the way for others. And that's how Black history is. And we need to continue doing Black history throughout the year. The month is just the focus, but the year is every day is Black history. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and say our byes from the Naked Truth. And I thank you guys for sharing. And I thank Emilian Bucks, who came in and out. He was a great asset to our platform today. And Brianna, I thank you for bringing our youthful ideas and information, because without you guys, we wouldn't know how to deal with today. Anyway, you bring a lot of knowledge to us, so I appreciate that as well. Thank you guys, and y'all have a good one. And if you have any questions, we will follow up on the page. So y'all have a good day and enjoy Valentine's Day. Bye.